I've got. I'm at home. I'm at home with the flu, so I'm kind of man down today. But I don't have COVID. I had a test yesterday.
Okay, well that's good news. That's good
And
news.
how?
You have flu, but good news that it's not flu.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And I was sitting here this morning. I had such a. How are you doing? Well, besides the flu and all that. So.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, yeah, it's difficult to get. I can't get out there and do my stuff, you know. So, but this whole new world of working online is pretty much the only thing to do now.
It is, and I love it. I love it. I think it opens your horizons and gets you to meet more people and so on.
And have we got guest speakers today?
Yeah, we have
Eric and
Eric Parker, Willem Haarhoff, Mike Said, and Maria.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
If I switch, we'll be switching our camera off, I assume, hey?
Well, we shouldn't, you know. I'm going to try and encourage people to leave it on, especially for the networking. And also, you know, it's very weird trying to speak to a whole bunch of screens. You know, it's one thing trying to, you know, it's already nerve-wracking in what do you call it? It's already nerve-wracking when you're standing in front of a bunch of people, and then now when you're sitting and looking at a bunch of screens, and then you don't know if anyone's listening or if anyone's there.
Yes. I fully agree. So we're starting in just now, then 10 minutes time, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, right. I've just got to do some emails, and but I am here.
Okay. All right, Phil. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. At least two people are here. Your sister's here. Yay! I get so nervous, Bill, when these things, it feels like
I know the feeling. I do know that feeling.
I always think nobody's going to show up.
No, you know, you're a whiz at this. This is the way to go.
Yeah. I tell you what, I can burst into tears right now. I don't know why they just come out.
It's happiness. It's happiness. It's good. It's good.
I had such a day yesterday when my computer crashed and everything, just whatever could go wrong could go wrong.
Oh my gosh. And today?
Today?
Are you back to normal today?
Well, I'm not sure if I'm back to normal. But I'm getting there. I'm just kind of going, well, that's how life is.
Yeah, in fact, life is now around our computers. I mean, if anything goes wrong with our laptops. By the way, have you put a solid state drive in your laptop yet?
I think I do, yes. But my OneDrive disappeared. No, my husband did put a solid state, but my drive disappeared.
That's definitely the way to go. Definitely the way to go.
Why is there such an echo? I'm hearing an echo today.
Oh, wait, somebody joined us. I'm going to mute mine and see if it goes away.
Oh no, it seems better now, I think. Hi, Shireen.
Hello, Romani.
How are you?
I'm okay, and you? I'm just tired.
Our favorite saying these days. Yeah, I must say. Yesterday, I found some exercises we can do. Maybe I should do a demonstration in the beginning, you know. It's a Japanese exercise where you hold your three seconds. It's to relieve shoulder pain, neck pain, headaches. So all you have to do is go like this. You see, 3 minutes, 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, and then you go 1, 2, 3, straight out. And then you go up until you can't go anymore. And then you let go. It actually does help. It does work.
Oh,
I was saying to Bill earlier, Shireen, I think my biggest fear is always that nobody shows up, or people don't show up, or enough people don't show up.
it's out of your control, Romany.
I know it's out of your control, but it doesn't stop you getting scared.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I agree with you. When the people come on, I'm going to switch my camera off.
Why?
Just
No,
then in the background, I can sit and work.
no, you must have it on. It makes it much nicer for the speakers. You know, I was thinking last time where was I chatting? And there was more off cameras than on cameras. And it felt like, well, is anybody out there? Is actually someone listening? I seem to be echoing. Am I?
Yeah, yes, you are.
I don't know why I'm echoing. Can me? Default Microsoft, yeah, okay. HD cam. Or either everyone's only going to arrive at like 9 o'clock, you know, miss the networking. Let's see. Where are we? Okay, so the echo is better now.
Yes.
And what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?
Morning, Shireen.
Morning. Hello, Bill. How are you?
Yeah, I've got the flu, but
Oh, shame.
at least I don't have COVID. I had the test yesterday, so. But I don't know if you've had it yet.
No, I haven't.
Yeah. I also think it's got something to do with modern day stress as well.
Yes.
Just this new life, this new lockdown, the whole Zoomer up and down thing, all these little things affect us. You know?
Yeah, no, it's true.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
I don't think I've met any of you before, but my name is Willem Haarhoff, and I'm looking forward to share some time with you guys this morning.
Good
Yeah.
morning,
Morning, Willem. I'm Shireen from FASA. Nice to meet you.
Same here, yeah, we've had some email correspondence.
Back and forth.
I'm Romany.
Hi, Romany, how's it? I think you and I have had a session before on one
Yes.
webinar.
Yes,
So,
we have. We have.
Great.
Bill is a fellow franchisor.
Morning, Willem.
how's it?
Good luck today, brother.
Same to you, thanks.
Yeah, we'll see how today. It's going to be an interesting day today.
So maybe just if you don't mind, I understand that today's it's just a networking event, so it's gonna be fairly informal. Each of us will get a few minutes to talk, right? And then it's gonna be like a Q&A, something like that.
Well, you can, your session is about automation, so you can just share your story on automation for the 10 minutes, and then, you know, if you want to turn it into, you know, as I said, it's just very formal and relaxed. Some people will use presentations, others don't. But because this is more for the African franchising event, we just thought we'd make it where everyone just gets to share a bit about that event coming on in.
Great, perfect. Sounds good.
And we've been having havocs with the emails where people are just either not getting emails anymore or, yeah, it's been quite an interesting journey, huh? This whole changeover. Yeah, so Bill, as you were sharing,
Yes.
as you were sharing, yeah, this whole situation is really, I find a lot of people are very tired and exhausted at the moment.
Yeah, I see the morale around, and the reluctance to meet, and the knee jerk to do an e-meeting. And for anybody that's in sales, like face-to-face sales, and has to build their business from selling one person to another, to sell with a mask on. Yeah, I did a little training video on it, but it is a challenge because the nuances in your face, cheeks, mouth, lips, chin, head position, eyes, even neck, all those little nuances, those non-verbal communications are affected by that.
I can imagine. I mean, I know about body language, and I'm aware that it does impact. I must say, it does make me feel very uncomfortable to speak to somebody that's got a mask on. I mean, I've got more of the see-through one. You know, I can't do that whole.
Oh, well done.
Yeah, I can't do the material on my mouth because I've got very sensitive sinuses. So it will
Very good.
impact me. Any fibers or stuff that get on my nose will trigger.
Yeah, in fact, I did some stats on it, and apparently, I think it's something like 63% of your communication is how you do it, you know, how you are. And then it goes all the way down to something like 9% is only what you say. So having half of your face covered with a mask, you're losing a lot of your honesty. You know, you're pretty much losing a lot of your impact. And at least on these face-to-face things, you don't get the tactile reaction, but at least you see somebody.
Yeah, yeah. I know it. Even this meeting in the virtual space, I mean, as much as I've done it for such a long time, I mean, I was doing it already when there was only Skype, you know what I mean? And Skype was already challenging back then. And so it's great that we have these tools, but yeah, you're still kind of not sure when do you speak, when do you say, you know, it's yeah, it's and it's not as personal, you know.
Yes.
Good morning.
Definitely. Morning, Robin.
Good morning, Robin.
How are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Oh, there's quite a lot of people on already.
Morning, Eric.
Yeah.
We all early birds.
I'm not sure
How's
if that
everyone?
early because it's 8, or we are supposed to start around about now.
Okay.
Hello, Mr. Parker.
Hi, Shireen.
How are you? Hello, Robin.
Good morning, Fred. Good morning, Julie.
Morning,
Hi,
Freddie.
everyone.
Hi, Julie.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Hi, everybody. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Jean. Is it Jean?
It's John.
Jean. Sorry, Jean.
No worries. How you doing?
I just don't know me, Jean. I have a friend called Jean, yeah.
Yeah, my spelling is a bit different than the normal. A lot of people, when you see it in English, immediately revert to Jean, but normally it's a Juan, like a Juan, but my parents had other ideas.
Right. Oh, I just want to make sure. Just want to see something. Julie, did we send, I know I put James on that link. I'm just trying to remind myself now. Oh, nobody's got anything to say?
Dominique,
Yes.
Dominique, it's Julie's birthday. I think we should all sing happy birthday
Oh,
to
that's
her.
right. Happy
I
birthday.
beat you to it, Eric. I wished already.
Not only me. It's not only me.
It's Maria
as a-
D'Amico as well.
Yeah,
We're partners in crime, Maria and I.
twins.
Twins of another kind, eh? Let's see. I hope everybody, Julie, that everybody didn't get, because we've got 50 people booked today. I hope they're not getting confused with the African conference.
Shouldn't be.
No, they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
No, because I mean, Falani, she's quite a regular. She's rebooked. Someone just says they'll join at 9. I don't know who this person is. It's telling me they'll join at 9. Okay. Okay, there we go. So we'll just see. Well, what has everybody been up to so far in the past week? Bill, let's start sharing. While we wait. Oh, wait, hold on. There's a lot of people waiting to be admitted here. Let's admit. Good morning, Belinda. Good morning, Dion. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
Good morning, Adele.
Morning, Dion.
Morning. How's it going?
All right, you.
All right, can't complain.
Here we go. People are starting to arrive. So I know Petunia is still supposed to join us as well. All right. Well, I tell you what, let's kick off because it's already 22. We can just, oh, there we go. There's Petunia already. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to this morning's networking session. The reason we started these sessions was because, of course, we're moving into a new world, a new age. The whole world is changing, and the sooner we start automating our businesses and as soon as we start migrating into the virtual world, we will realize that there's a lot of opportunities for us out there, that our world expands further than our doorstep and further than, you know, the local area and the suburbs, and it definitely connects us to a world outside. I mean, I've been working in the virtual space since about 2005, and I tell you what, it's changed my life. It's been the most extraordinary experiences. I've met people globally across the world, done businesses with people globally across the world, and with many I've never met in life. And so it's been a great opportunity for me to work in that space and to always know that there's possibilities and opportunities, which brings us to the networking session today, because Mike said is very much a futurist as well, so is Willem. So we got a lot of people. Eric is an out-of-box thinker, so we've got a lot of good speakers or people to share who's going to be sharing with us about the African conference, what they're going to be talking about, or just briefly. So thank you, everyone, and welcome today to this morning session. So this is the networking session, so it's very informal. Let's exchange information. Let's talk about the challenges that we're facing in the world today, talk about what we're on, the projects that we're working on. Let's share and just see how we can meet and connect. Guys, I just want to mention that these sessions are recorded. Sorry, let me just, these sessions are recorded. So just be aware of that. and we may use it for marketing purposes, which we will most likely. So just be aware that you may be included in marketing. We will always never share any personal information. So what I'd like to do is just hand over quickly to our chairperson, Petunia Siobani, and then followed by Fred, our CEO of FASA. And just quickly before we get started, happy birthday to Julie also. I believe it's her birthday today. So happy birthday. It's also Maria's birthday. She's not here. So happy birthday to Maria, who's not here yet, but she'll be joining us shortly. So handing over to Petunia.
Good morning, everyone. Happy birthday, Maria and Julie. It's a pity we could have brought some cake to share, virtual cake. Many more years to you. Maria is already on the call, Romani. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Hey, birthday
Happy
girl.
birthday, Julie. Yeah, just because Julie had to work today, she's now made me work too.
Yes, and in fact, she was going to go away. Maria was going to go away. She said, no, I want to go away for my birthday. And then, of course, I think the lockdown, I said, no, you've got to, if I've got to work, you've got to work.
Yeah, ladies, you must learn from me. My birthday is a national public holiday.
Oh, really?
Okay, thank you, everyone, for joining us this morning. And also thank you to the speakers that are going to be embracing us today. You know, whenever I speak to Eric, I'm always quite refreshed. Some people know when I mean this, if you say if franchising was a person. And I think from FASA's perspective, I think it's really a good time for us to be actually taking this time to zone in, to talk to the different stakeholders in respect of, you know, taking a dipstick in terms of what has happened in the franchising sector. You know, all of us on this call would know that franchise businesses would obviously have a much better chance of surviving compared to your independent business. I mean, for many years, FASA has been known for promoting entrepreneurship, small business development, and most certainly creating jobs. If you look at the stats of what we did from a survey perspective in 2019, this sector used to employ just over 500,000 people, and we contributed almost 14% to the country's GDP. I mean, those are serious numbers, and a good thing about franchising is that we cut across about 14 sectors. So it's really a time for us to broadcast on the challenges, as well as looking at the opportunities that arise in terms of the trends and the innovations that all the key speakers will be sharing around franchising. And the great thing that makes me quite excited as well, we're not only going to be focusing on local, being South Africa, we're also going to be looking at some African participants as well as international participants. As some of you would know, FASA is also part of the World Franchise Council as well. So we're also going to get a sense of how franchising is doing from a global perspective. And I think it's also an opportunity. I had Romani speak earlier on about how she's getting an opportunity to engage with people across the globe. So that gives us an opportunity because as we may have seen with the franchisors that have joined us last year specifically, some of them are based out there in other countries in the global market and are looking into investing in South Africa. So that will give us an opportunity as a franchising industry to contribute meaningfully to the economy and make sure that we strengthen the economy and we sort of get into pre-COVID levels. And it's not all doom and gloom. Some of our sectors as well have been doing quite well, recording some double-digit growths, and some of them has demonstrated opportunities. So COVID has also brought about innovations, and the word digital has become a buzzword, most certainly also in the automotive industry. I mean, last year we also had to get our way in ensuring that we operate under level 4. We had to strengthen digital presence, and now that has created quite a lot of opportunities as well. So I'm very excited about this conference coming up on the 25th and 26th of August, and also this session to hear what Mike and Eric Parker specifically have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Petunia. Handing over to Fred, just to ask everyone to remind you, just please keep your audios off for this moment and to keep your videos on if possible, because it's just nice to see everybody, to be able to, it's quite weird speaking to black screens. So handing over to Fred, our CEO of FASA, Fred Magato.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this session. And happy birthdays to Maria and Julie as well. As Petunia said, unfortunately, due to our situation, we cannot buy them a cake, but we would have loved to. But I do know that they appreciate the messages that we send to them. Is there interference with my...
Someone just mute the microphone. All right.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Am I on? And
Yes.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I think, as Petunia indicated, there are new opportunities that are coming up. She covered lots of issues, but I also want just to bring it to your attention that there is a township economic bill, which is published, is out for comments. And I think as we are partnering with the Soweto Chamber of Commerce, we are taking part in that, because I think that there are opportunities for franchise. As far as we are trying to introduce the franchising model in Soweto and other townships throughout the country. And that bill creates an opportunity for the new opportunities, I think. And this is the area where we are going to concentrate in the coming few days. But also, I think I have met Eric in my endeavor to gather more information about the franchise in the industry. And I must say that the information I got was quite worthy, and it will help me in my journey in trying to redirect and find a better way of improving FASA. And in the next few days, we intend on interacting and engaging with our members just to ensure that we are on the right track insofar as what is it that they want us to do for them, because we believe that FASA is their association, so we should actually be interacting with them more. And soon and very soon, we will also, I know Romani is doing well in terms of the digital work, and Julie as well, but we also want to get into other traditional media space. And you'll have seen that in the past few weeks, we have had shows or sessions on TV about some activities that affect us, and we will also want to be able to address that. So in all essence, I'm looking forward to gathering more information from this session, and it will help us shape our way forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Excellent. Right. So yeah, we're going to get over to a bit of networking. I'd just like everyone to introduce yourselves. You can share anything you'd like to know, us to know, the value that you add or the challenges that you're perhaps looking at, the challenges that you perhaps facing at the moment, or who you would like to meet, or business opportunities. So yes. All right. So let's start the conversation. So I'm just going to give you some little bit of, there we go. So announce your name, your surname, the company that you're from, what you're currently working on, or any problems that you want to solve, or who you're looking to meet, or what is the reason for you being here today. If you're an aspiring franchisee looking for franchise opportunities, let us know. If you don't wish to speak or contribute to the conversation, just send me a direct message and I will not announce your name. So I'm just going to announce your name and give us a short, quick introduction. All right, let's begin with our familiar faces who've done it before. So I'm going to kick off with Carl. Carl Schultz, welcome.
Good morning, Romany. Good morning, everybody. My name is Carl Schultz. I'm from World Class Coach, and we have a number of programs and solutions, interventions, focusing on helping you grow your business. We work mainly with leaders in business and with teams, getting your marketing, your sales processes, and all your systems in place so that your business can thrive. Thank you, Romany.
Thank you, Carl. All right, let's head over to, I'm trying to get you off the spotlight. Let's see. All right, and let's head over to Dion. Sorry, Dion.
Morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
How's it? My name's Dion Lombard. I'm the founder and owner of Divine Pooches. We are a mobile pet grooming company. Our aim with our business is to make your pet's grooming as hassle-free as possible. We are basically one phone call away. So we come to your premises, we do everything on your premises, and it just makes it more comfortable for your dogs and your pets. So we do pets and we do dogs and cats. Like I said, it's a mobile unit that comes to your property. So there's no cages. Your animals don't have to sit in a cage the whole day, and the vets at least at a static parlor. That's done in comfort and the security of their own property. So it's quick and easy. We're in and out, hassle-free, and it's just a lot comfortable, very comfortable. Recently, because of the growth we've had in our company, we've decided to franchise. Franchising itself has been a challenge for us, as well as the social media, getting that side sorted out. But we've got some people that are starting to show interest, and it's great to see the growth possibility at the end of the day. So yeah, that's it. We do a professional grooming service where we come to your house, and it's in the comfort of your own home, quick and easy. We're in and out, and that's it. Thanks, Romany.
Right, let's move over to Bill Sandham. Oh, Bill, we can't hear you.
Apologize. Yeah. Yes. Hi, everybody. For those of you that know me, I've pretty much put my life's work into writing a sales-driven security technology franchise. And I did take it to market, which was a challenge, and even had some counseling of Eric. And by the way, Eric, everything you told me came true, and you were right and I was wrong. So thank you for that. But one must learn from the experts. Yes, so basically it's still there. It's completely on pause now. I'm still running the POC side of it on myself, and every single day making improvements. And we're now at the stage where we want now to plug the franchise in as a ready-made franchise division into a national security group. So that's my focus now, is to hope to be through networking and through FASA and through Romany to be connected into a known security brand that will be able to take this entire model and move forward with it and bring thousands of people into the industry and ultimately save lives from securing premises from what's going on out there. And by the way, it is not pretty. So thank you very much for having us here, and I'm intently listening to the speakers forthcoming.
not the best time. Thank you for that, Bill. Not sure why I'm echoing it. Hold on. Let me see where we're going. Thank you for that, Bill. I see Eric is logged on 3 times. So Eric, you may want to log out 3 times in case your sound, because you may echo. We'll have to see unless you're on 2 different computers.
I've logged out, but I kept losing the sound. I couldn't hear you guys. I tried to get in. And you must remember, I'm born before computers, so not so easy.
As Bill calls it, BBC, born before computers.
Yeah. When you get to my age, you want to talk on the phone or write something.
Excellent. Let's go over to Belinda Kruger. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I hope you, my name is Belinda Berger, not Kruger. I'm the CEO of the CEO of a company called Famous Bean Cafe. We are a franchisor for coffee cafes, turnkey solutions. And of course, you know how we have been hit by this coronavirus. So at this stage, we are also networking and trying to get investors in the product, but not only that, also to have a set up a coffee shop, you need venues. So we need sites, and we would like to make contact with agents, landlords, and then of course investors as well in our product. We are 3 years that we are operating. Our CEO is Etienne Brevin, and I am the CFO. So that is my story. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us today. Right. Okay, so we just have some, Polani said she's looking for franchise opportunity since joining the session, just wants to know more about franchising. Let's head over to Robin van Rensburg.
Morning, everybody. I'm Robin van Rensburg from Franchise in a Box. I'm a franchise consultant. I mainly deal with startups, people who starting to franchise that's got a small business. We do rollouts, documentation, the whole trip, trademarks, contracts, everything. Yeah, that's my story. Good morning, everybody.
Sorry, I forgot to put you in the spotlight there. Right. Let's see. Gio, would you like to introduce yourself? And then Aletta Mpati after that. We'll start with Jean. So Jean, Gio, then Aletta. So prepare yourselves.
Morning, everyone. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Yeah, so I'm from a company in Telefy. We specialize in deploying business grade internet to restaurants, to companies, to any industry, and we specialize in public Wi-Fi. So really focusing on the commodity that it is, monetizing Wi-Fi, focusing on security, and then really using the old-fashioned Wi-Fi to change the bad rap that it received because of previous stakeholders in the market that didn't focus on the customer and the customer experience. We know that the data and free Wi-Fi has become a big commodity, and the big approach is to also serve the underprivileged communities in terms of public Wi-Fi and giving them access. So our company specializes in that, and our main focus in the beginning was restaurants, and now systematically phasing out to more industries. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
That sounds very interesting. Maybe may come and have a chat with you. Excellent. Anybody else brave enough to go ahead and introduce themselves? Gio, are you ready? Would you like to introduce yourself? Or would you like to just sit in the background? Let's see, I'm trying to just check messages quickly. Okay. Wakil, would you like to introduce yourself? Oh, there's a letter. Okay. Aletta.
Yes, ma'am. How are you?
Well, thank you.
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity. My name is Aletta Mpati. I'm a student at Tshwane University of Technology. I'm 30 years old. I just want to learn so much about franchising because I've been planning on buying into a franchise of a local business here in South Africa, which is Moja Chicken. So I'm just trying to learn so much that I can and maybe grab as much information as possible regarding all the opportunities out there and maybe hoping to meet other people in terms of investing in other franchise opportunities and going forward with this industry and how it will help me and get a sense of the whole industry as a whole. So basically, I'm just a new student trying to learn and venture out into new opportunities out here. Thank you so much.
Aletta, thank you. And thank you for sharing with us. It's always good to know. We all got to start our journey somewhere, and this is one of the best places to be able to learn from people who have done it before. So thank you very much. Okay, let's see. Do you want to introduce yourself, Wakil? I'm not sure. Sometimes people have internet connectivities. Just let me know. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Patricia. Oh, unmute yourself, unmute yourself, unmute.
No, I was brave enough to put up my hand, but not brave enough to unmute myself. Sorry about that. Yeah, I belong to the Academy of Life Coaching. And we're different. We're so different from all the life coaches in that we work in the communities. We feel that the communities are our trigger point, our points of interest, because that's where everything comes from. So we've worked in Kalicha, we've worked with students, we've worked in Mitchell's Plain, all over. And we've had great success. We started in 2008, so we're not a fly-by-night company. We actually train coaches and not working with the business people as such, not working with those leaders. Well, they might become leaders, we never know, or they have become leaders as well. So we've worked extensively. We took a knock last year, but it had great opportunities because it introduced us to doing the course online. We have a student from Germany. We have a student from China. And now I have a new angle, and I think the two can be connected. The angle is consciousness bars, access bars consciousness. And I'm learning so much because no matter how much effort people put in and how many hours they put in and how hard they work, if their mindsets are still angry and they still, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, the mindset is not right, they're going to stay where they are. Thanks, Ramini.
Julie, you want to quickly share with us what you do?
Hi everyone. Well, I am involved with FASA and with the conference that's coming up. So I'm thrilled to see that people have shown interest in the two speakers that we're just highlighting, just to give you a taste of what's to come. Eric Parker needs no introduction, is the stalwart of franchising, and he has some very radical ideas. And then another one with very radical ideas is Mike Said, who will tell it as it is. And I think that's what we need in franchising now. We need a shake-up and we need to prepare for the future. Thank you and enjoy.
Okay, Mike Said, you want to introduce yourself quickly? We know you're speaking
Roman,
later,
do
but
I have
everyone
to?
gets a turn.
My name is Mike Said from a company called Mike Said What. I help people sell more stuff to more people for more money, more efficiently, and more often. In a nutshell, I use social media, very big exponent of video, and I have an ability to annoy people. So I might have to apologize in advance if anything I say today upsets you, but my job is not to make you smile. My job is to make you better at what you do. Thank you, Romany.
Perfect. Thank you. Just sending you a message because your audio seems a little bit soft, faint. I don't know if you can increase it.
No problem. I'll bring my microphone closer.
Yes, that's much better.
Sure.
Thank you. Graham Fontaine, I see you've just managed to join us. Would you like to introduce yourself quickly? And then we'll get started with today's sessions.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I hope I'm on time. My name is Graham Fontaine. By nature, I'm an entrepreneur, but at the moment, I'm representing a company in Italy as the country manager in Africa. The company is called ShopCall, and we're into video commerce at the moment, which is something very new. And I'm here to learn as much as I can from all the participants. And maybe we can share information about industries and that type of thing and help each other where we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Graham. And we're gonna head over to our, Wakil says his sound is not working at the moment. He's my intern who works with me, does web development, web design, specializing. I'm training him to specialize in virtual events and online training material and content to create online training sites. So yes, I think we've covered everyone. Please raise your hand if I haven't, if you'd like to still contribute to the conversation, because I think I'm going to head over to our first guest speaker of this morning, which is Willem Haarhoff. He's going to share with us about automation, and that's where the world is headed. We are heading into a world of automation, and it really is time to automate as much of your business as possible going forward. So I'm going to head over to Willem Haarhoff, who can introduce himself and share with us.
Good morning, friends. Thanks, Romany, and thanks also to FASA for providing this platform for us to get together and to share some beautiful ideas. First up, to those who have birthdays, I just want to thank you for my triple chocolate brownie. Congratulations, and I'm going to enjoy this when my speaking turn is over. But yeah, Romany, I'm glad that you are sort of prefacing that idea of automation being the future. And I'm trusting that part of what I'm going to say will help convince us all that it's actually here today with us. And I'll share a few ideas on why I think so. I like what John has said. It's the first time I heard somebody use the phrase old-fashioned and Wi-Fi in the same sentence, which means we've come a long way. He also said free Wi-Fi is a commodity, and that to me, speaks to the fact that I think most of us understand that business can no longer be dealt with or executed in the traditional way or in the way that we always thought should be done. So as Romany said, my name is Willem Haarhoff, and I'm one of the co-founders of a business called DoughGetters Accounting. DoughGetters Accounting. Why DoughGetters Accounting? Interesting. I've got a 20+ year experience with one of the big 4 accounting firms, and around 2014, 2015, my current partner and I decided that it's time to shake up the accounting industry. And part of our endeavor was to not be known as Bonnets and Haarhoff and Co., not to wear pinstripe suits, not to work from a central office building. And so we actually don't refer to ourselves as an accounting firm or an accounting practice. We are an accounting tech business. And it's a subtle difference, but it's very, very fundamental to the way we operate. We're a remote working business, and which means we can provide a professional service to our clients anytime, from anywhere, using any device, so long as it's got internet access. And so my designation is not CEO or financial director or this or that. My designation is nomadic remote working future accountant. And that's what I do. At DoughGetters, we understand that Wi-Fi or free Wi-Fi is not the only commodity out there. Time is a very, very scarce resource for everybody. And so we specialize in helping business owners buy back time. And we do that by giving them the answers that they need to get a handle on their finances. So what does that mean? It really means that we want to enable you as the entrepreneur and the business owner to be able to get access to the financial results and information of your business at the press of a button, almost instantly. We are also used to getting financial information from our accountants a few weeks after the fact, a few months after the fact. And by that time, the information has very little relevance and actually don't add any value. Information, especially financial information, adds value when you are able to look at it now and test that against your gut feel. Test that against what you think your business should be doing. Once you've got that balance, then you've got an infinitely better chance and opportunity to continue to grow your business, to continue to focus your time and energy on the things that really matter. And in my mind, as a business owner, the things that matter the most for me, number one, growth. Number two, making a profit from that growth. And number three, converting that profit into well-deserved cash flow. It's only once those three things are working that I can start to make better decisions about what I want to do with that additional cash flow. That may mean I'm going to spend that cash to go on holiday because I want to pursue a healthy, worthwhile type of living. Or I want to use that cash flow to compensate people more than what I've promised them. Or I want to use that cash flow to plow back into my business to invest for further growth. But I can only be at that position once all those other things are in place: growth, profit, cash flow. And so the reason I want to talk about automation is I see that as one of the crucial building blocks, allowing a business in today's environment to do that better. I'm sure everybody will agree that one of the things that matters as a business owner is for you to continuously be able to take the initiative so that you can be competitive. In the current economic climate, being competitive sometimes mean that you're going to be under pressure in terms of charging the price for your goods or services that you want to charge. And if you can't charge what you want to charge, you're going to have difficulty in getting to that profit that you want to get to. So one of the problems that we solve as a business is we help businesses transform their business into a digital business. So one of the ways in which you can become more competitive is if your overheads are a lot less than what they might have been before. So the more a business operates digitally, the more the back office and all those monthly overheads are done using a digital platform, the more costs you can save, the less overheads you have to carry, and that can help make you a lot more efficient. But it's not just about cash. We don't price our products only because we want to cover our costs and maybe turn a profit. We want to price our products ideally so that we can demonstrate to our communities that we solve a real problem. In my world, that means I don't want to go and compete on price. I don't want to go to other businesses and say to them, I'm gonna get your business because I'm cheaper. I want to go to a business owner and I want to say to them, you know what? I totally get where you're coming from. I totally understand what worries you and what keeps you awake at night. And therefore, I'm not going to go back to a business and say to them, here are all the things I can do for you. They actually don't care about all the things I can do for them. What they care about is, do I understand and am I able to empathize with the thing that keeps them awake at night? Am I able to solve their problem? And if I can demonstrate those two things, then I can actually charge a premium for my services. Then my motivation is no longer just to cover a cost. My motivation is actually to help solve the problem. So that's a bit of a context, but I think the point I want to make is you can only start to focus on having those kind of discussions once you know as a business owner you've got your bases covered. As a business owner, you don't want to worry about, are my accounts up to date? Is my tax compliance in order? You don't want to spend your time as a business owner doing all sorts of heavy lifting that is associated with admin. You want to take care of those stuff as quickly as possible, either by outsourcing it or by using technology. And that's why automation is so relevant, by using technology to take care of all that heavy lifting for you, so that the lion's share of your time can be focused towards how you're going to be able to price yourself into a position of premium. I want to tell you guys a quick story, and this is a real experience that I've had recently. So my family and I, we live in George. I'm sure most of you will know where George is. If you're a golfer, think fan court, but I'm not living in fan court. Yeah, let's leave it at that. So I live in George, and a few weeks ago, we went on a short family vacation for a week. One of the lovely things about George is you get a flood of people from the rest of the country in December. And then normally the whole of December, the weather is very poor. It rains a lot, the wind's blowing. And the moment the last GP number plate crosses the Outeniqua Mountains to go back early in January, that's when the rain stops. And then the beautiful sun comes out, the weather is just wonderful. And that continues pretty much up until April. So when most people are not here, things are much quieter, and that's when we choose to go out. So we decided to take a week off. We went to a place called Bochumsbaai. That's not a big place. It's a little on the other side of Mossel Bay towards Stilbaai. And the one day we said, let's take a drive out. Let's go to Gouritsmond, which is a very small village, also on the other side of Mossel Bay. It was a beautiful hot summer's day. We went to the beach. We spent some time in the surf with the kids. It was about 4 o'clock. It was really hot. And my wife and I said to each other, let's quickly go to the shops. I think the kids have earned an ice cream. I want to just pick up a bag of ice, bag of wood, because I want to braai. So when we get home, we've got all the stuff we need, and we can go and make a lovely dinner. So the idea that I had in my mind was, I'm going to go to the shop, quickly run in, get the 5 or 10 items I need, quickly pay for it, and off I go. So when I got into the shop, I was the only person there, because it's a small place, it's out of season, and I thought, oh great, it's going to be quick. Everybody was in the car, so I quickly picked up the things, a few ice creams, the wood. I think I grabbed a bag of marshmallows and all that. So I had about 10 or 15 items. Got to the counter, and guess what? This friendly lady greeted me with the biggest smile you can imagine. And she said, sir, I would like to apologize. And I thought to myself, well, what are you apologizing for? She said, our server is down. And so our point of sales doesn't work. And guess what happened then? She took out a piece of paper, a pen, and she started writing down a list of all the items that's in my basket. She then disappeared, and she actually walked through the aisles of the entire shop to go and look for the items I picked, to get the prices, to write them down, came all the way back. And by now, 3 other people came into the shop, and now we had a queue forming. Now, this is off season, late in the afternoon, a small village, and you've got a queue in a convenience store. The next thing, she pulled out a calculator. Now, she's not an accountant, right? She's a business owner. So it wasn't a fancy calculator that you would associate with the chartered accountant writing a board exam. This was one of these small calculators that I think she may have gotten in a lucky packet somewhere. And I was just so scared because she's going to mistype something. Now she was under pressure because she had to add up all those items so that she can tell me what I have to pay. So in my own mind, I was no longer in vacation mode. Now I was in, oh, I've got to quickly see how quickly I can add up those items in my head. So I've got to make sure she gives me the right price. So what was supposed to be a very convenient buying experience from a convenience store turned out to be an inconvenient experience in a convenience store. And so the moral of the story for me was that this was an example of a business that's not yet operating in the cloud, as they would say. They're not yet operating with the idea of, I need to automate as many of the heavy lifting that I can. Now, granted, you know, she had a point of sale system in place, but she was still operating on her own server, which because it was updating, she couldn't use it. It was completely useless to her. And so an unintentional consequence of that experience for her could be that she might have lost clients. Now think about it again. In the places like the garden route, most small businesses survive on the income they're able to generate during busy season. So when it's off season, anything they can get is a bonus for them. Now imagine she had these customers, and because of the systems not working, because of the automation that she couldn't get going, she potentially lost customers. And actually what happened, two of the people that came in after me left the store because it was going to take too long. They could actually have gone down the road and go and get what they wanted to. And so the one angle of this whole automation story, in my mind, is to help us remain competitive. It's to help us reduce and keep our overheads as low as possible so that we can win back time and dedicate it more towards the strategy of our business, so we can start working towards charging premium fees for the products and services that we offer in the marketplace. The second aspect of this automation, which I think is equally important to the first one, if not more important, is what is the kind of customer experience that you are creating for your customers? Are you in business, and do you have business processes for your own pleasure so that it's easy for you as the business owner? Or are you designing and implementing and executing your business processes so that you can offer your customers a hassle-free, easy process? Because it's only when it's easy for your customers that they would likely come back to you and buy from you again. So with that in mind, I'm gonna stop there. I think there's I've run out of time. But the moral of the story for me from an automation perspective is it's definitely not possible in my mind for a business to continue or to assure their long-term survival unless they seriously think about a digital transformation strategy so that they can operate in the cloud and that way spend most of their time focusing on the strategy of the business. Thanks very much. I would love to have questions and engage with you on this topic.
Thank you, Willem. Thank you very much. We'll do some questions in a few minutes. If you've got any questions, you can ask now, and I'm going to start handing over to Mike Said, who's going to be sharing with us, talking to us about the world of tomorrow, is it? Or no, restaurants. So Mike, I'm going to hand over to you. Sorry, I had a computer crash yesterday, so I've lost a lot of data, which I'm having to restore on other drives and stuff. So things went a bit crazy yesterday. So I'm going to hand over to Mike Said, who's going to share with us about, but before I do that, I do apologize. I have to just go back. Mike, not over to you yet. Is James with us? Because James joined us. Let me just have a thing. James Noble. So James Noble is of Absa Bank, and he is our Absa is the sponsor of the African Franchise Virtual Conference, which is going to be hosted on the 25th and 26th of August. I hope all of you get to join and sign on for that. That's a 2-day event. And so I'm just going to quickly hand over to James Noble to introduce himself as also part of the sponsorship of Absa.
Thanks, Ramini. Oh, you've put me on the spot there. Sorry, I was multitasking at this stage. Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity, and also thank you very much for arranging this session this morning. And yeah, just from our side, heading wholesale retail franchise at ABSA, and we are a very proud participant in the franchise industry in South Africa for many, many years. Myself being in the industry for the last, I think I'm in my 24th year from an ABSA perspective, being a franchisee myself. Very passionate about this industry, and also from a FASA perspective, a big supporter of the association promoting ethical franchising in South Africa. And yeah, please register yourself for the Franchising in Africa conference happening in August next month. And we've got a lot of good speakers lined up. And I think if there's something that you want to learn about franchising, or that you don't know about franchising, that's definitely going to be the conference to upskill yourself and learn more about the industry, and also understand what some of the opportunities and challenges are. So yeah, thanks for that opportunity, Romany.
Thank you, James. And now we're going to head over to Mike. Mike said, who's going to share with us about why restaurants failed in the world of tomorrow.
Well, how about rather not just why restaurants fail, but what you should be doing about them?
Okay,
that might be a better one. So a couple of years ago, I wrote an article called "Who's Killing the South African Restaurant Industry?" And it's probably never been more relevant than it is right now. And in it, I listed culprits like we were playing Cluedo. So I'm going to run through them quickly, and then I'll get back to each one of them. So first of all, was it the landlord with his lease in the shopping center? Was it the customer with no spending power in South Africa? Was it the supplier with no concept how the industry actually functioned sitting behind his desk? Was it the staff with total indifference in the restaurant? Was it the franchisor with his eye on the joining fee at that very first meeting? Or was it the owner with no clue or concept of his own being in la la land? So that kind of covers almost everything. I mean, right now you could add Corona to that. You could add government. You can add a number of things. But let me run through a couple of them, because the first thing I want to try and explain to you is that restaurants, are they failing because of Corona or not? Well, I'd like to think that this pandemic has accelerated it. These restaurants that are failing, unfortunately, and most businesses, were already in trouble before COVID came along. It was just kind of well hidden. And what COVID has expressed for all of us is which businesses are relevant and which businesses aren't. So let's talk first of all about the landlord in the shopping center. Of course, you need premises. You're going to need a landlord. You're going to need to find something. But I think what's killed businesses more than anything else is the escalation clause. More than the initial rent, it's the escalation clause. When people do their calculations up front and they say, great, this is about 9.5% of my turnover, I can manage with this. What they don't take into account is that little number they sign there that says 10, 11 or 12% increase, when businesses over the last 5 years, and particularly restaurants, very few have achieved any kind of double-digit growth. So what's happening is that lease is just cutting into your profitability every single year, deeper and deeper and deeper. And with that, besides that, also your occupation costs have gone through the roof, and so have your staffing costs. Secondly, the second culprit I always said is the customer themselves with no spending power. Right now, customers are expecting much more for their money than they ever have before. They feel like I have a limited amount of money, and they're not wrong. When I go to the restaurant, when I go to the business, I want better service. I want a better deal. It's extremely difficult to do business at the moment because of this very high demand that people have on the businesses. And at the same time, businesses suffering from severe cash flow restrictions, and I'm talking about severe, are very often unable to improve things, to give the customer the experience that they really would be looking for. So businesses and restaurants are hoping that customers will understand, and customers are hoping that businesses will up their game. Then, of course, the suppliers to the restaurant industry, it's not that they have no concept how the industry works, they really do. But what's happening is restaurants are getting caught between increasing prices and a kind of ceiling to what customers are prepared to pay. So for example, I might not be prepared to pay more than 80 Rand for a margarita pizza. That's kind of in my head, that's my ceiling. But at the same time, the cost of flour, the cost of electricity, the cost of the tomato paste, the cost of the packaging, all that's going up. And the business is being squeezed between these increasing costs and a decreasing market at the moment. What about the staff? Well, unfortunately, we are struggling at the moment with staff. And I think a lot of that, I need to point my finger straight at the restaurant owner or the business owner, because very often I say to them, you need to do more training. And the first thing they say to me is, but Mike, what if I go to all that trouble and all that expense to train my staff and they decide to leave? And I always say to them, well, what if you don't train them and God forbid they decide to stay? We are putting our most valuable asset, that is our customer, very often in the hands of our lowest trained, least cared for staff member, our frontline staff. And Disney have a wonderful expression. They say your frontline equals your bottom line. I know that if I go into business, I'm no accountant. I'm not Willem. And by the way, please send my regards to George. I had a restaurant in George and in Wilderness. Spent a lot of years there, understand exactly what you're saying about the weather there. If you don't like the weather in George, just wait 5 minutes. But I'm no accountant, but I know that I can walk into any business. And by the way I'm greeted by their frontline staff, I can probably tell you what the condition of the books are and the business and the back end or whatever. Your frontline equals your bottom line. Then, of course, there is the franchisor and his eye on the joining fee. And I know that I'm speaking to a group of franchisors here and potential franchisees, and this is where I might tread on a few toes. But I've watched too many franchisors sign up franchisees that should never have been signed up in the first place. They didn't have the financial capital. They didn't have the business know-how. They didn't fit the model. It was just to increase the footprint. This idea that we need to increase our footprint so fast that it really does take a toll on the franchise. Now, one of the things that I've noticed over the last, and I was the marketing manager for Mugg & Bean. I spent a lot of time in franchising. I've shared a platform with Eric many times and spoken at FASA conferences. There is something quite remarkable about the number 60. So many franchises in South Africa seem to have reached somewhere around that number, somewhere around that magic number of 60. And from that moment, they either go backwards severely or they go forwards. And there are so many examples of these things. So what actually happens, I believe, is that round about that number, professional management is needed. That's when it no longer can be a mom and pop store. Very often the founder has to step back at that stage and bring in professional management. So certainly franchisors, I spent I spent a couple of hours on the phone call to a franchisee in Durban, just complaining to me and then asking me for assistance. And I'm sitting there thinking, I shouldn't be charging him for what I'm about to do, because his franchisor should be delivering that for him. But this is not a generalization about all franchisors. There are amazing people doing amazing work out there, but please make sure you're on that side of the scale and not on the other one. And then finally, the last person who really is killing the business themselves is actually the owner himself. These owners, they come in, unfortunately, they've either just retired or they've got a bit of spare money, and they think, I remember when I had my restaurant in George, I had a restaurant there called Real and Rustic. Customers would come in and they'd call me over to the table and say, oh, what love the evening. One day when I retire, I'm going to own a restaurant. And I'm sitting there thinking, one day when I retire, I'm not even going to eat in a restaurant. I'm not going to near one ever again. I never want to see one. Restaurants they're like mini factories. A restaurant takes raw product and turns it into finished goods faster than any factory. And then on top of it, we then have to serve it to our customers who try our product in front of us. They don't take it home. They don't relax. It's not a fridge. They have to unbox it. And what's happening at the table is this combination of cash, alcohol, and ego at the same time. These three things are like, this is dangerous. This stuff just shouldn't mix together. And there it does at the restaurant table. So between the landlord, the customer, the supplier, the staff, the franchisor, and the owner, it's extremely difficult, but there are restaurants getting it right at the moment. And it comes down to a very clear understanding that restaurants are made up of three very distinct portions: commerce, art, and passion. Commerce is understanding the financial side of the business. And Willem was kind of speaking my language when he said that, when he was talking about understanding cash flow. What's the expression? Turnovers for vanity, profits for sanity, cash flow is your reality. That's very much where we are right now. And the things to look out for in a restaurant is there are some key financial things, some red flags. Absence of a well-organized and implemented accounting system is a huge red flag. Key operating expenses too high relative to gross sales. Big red flag. Menu items not accurately documented, costed, and updated. Another one. Food and beverage inventory levels way too high. There are so many of these red flags. Probably a really big one is daily and financial operating data not collected, reviewed, and acted upon. That's a massive one. Guys not taking stock, not even understanding it. What's the expression? It's a business, stupid. And every business is like that. So there are restaurants doing extremely well at the moment, even under these circumstances. The takeaway businesses were perfectly primed for this. Bigger restaurants are definitely struggling at the moment. They need your assistance. They need your guidance. They just need your support. They need to know that you're there more than anything else. I believe this will turn. It's going to be with us for a while. I do not believe for 1 second that Monday, level 4 is suddenly going to become level 2 again. I believe it's going to be extended. And sorry, that's going to put adverse pressure on restaurants. I also believe that the Delta variant or the third wave is not the last wave. And, and speaking of the waves, when we went through that first wave, I really felt like I was living through some kind of adventure. By the time the second wave came along, I believe I was living through some major inconvenience. But this third wave has made me very aware that I am living through a pandemic. There are people in hospital that I know. There are people that have died that I know. This is pretty serious. And do I think it's suddenly going to go away at the end of this one? No, it's not. So what business owners should be doing right now is really looking at how they can plan for the future. And that future, unfortunately, includes more of these lockdowns and more pandemic. It's not all bleak out there. There are guys doing incredible work, using social media properly, getting their financials right, everything like that. It's not, the industry is not dying, but there are unfortunately restaurants that are dying at the moment. And I spend a lot of time making videos, posting them on Facebook, on LinkedIn, free of charge, just little hints and tips, doing my best, whatever I can to keep people motivated, to keep their heads up and prepare for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Has anyone got any questions for Mike? I just want to note that James has said that it's a very important point made by Mike to look at escalation clauses in lease agreements. In banking terms, we always refer to JAWS concept. You should grow your revenue faster than expenses. JAWS should always open up and not close. So that's a comment from James. Thank you for sharing. And yes, I agree. This pandemic is not going to go away. We are going to experience more lockdowns. There's even talks of climate lockdowns going forward. So yes, how do we prepare? But in every situation, disruption, there's major opportunities. It's just up to us to find those opportunities and be open to exploring opportunities. Right. Yes, let's take you off the spotlight. And who's next in the spotlight? We are moving to, hold on. Let's see. Eric Parker. If no one's got any questions, we're going to head over to Eric Parker.
Oops.
Did I lose Eric? There we go. There we go. Eric, are you with us? You were with us and now you're black. Black screen.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, we can't see
are you
you.
hearing me? Oh,
We can hear you, we can't
hello?
see you. We can hear you and see you.
Hi.
Eric?
No, are we going
Rami,
to
are you hearing me? I'm not hearing much.
I want them to see that I'm leaving.
Yes, Eric, we can hear you and we can see you. You are a bit frozen. I think Eric's... Eric, Can you hear me? Oh, now we can't hear Eric at all. Okay. All right. So we're having a little bit of a technical glitch there at the moment. So Eric, I'm not sure if you can hear us. I don't think you can hear us. We can't. So we'll come back to Eric. Sometimes it happens where technology has its moments. Maria, I tell you what, while Eric is busy.
You can probably talk now. Hi, everyone.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Eric.
Yes, we can hear you. You can't hear us by the sounds of it. Okay, let's just go. Erica, oh, I don't know how to do
Can you
this.
hear us?
Yes.
Hello,
Yes, we can
Sasha.
hear you.
Yes, we can
I
hear
think you might
you.
need to leave and come back in again quickly.
Let me just put myself on the screen here. Yes, Eric, we can hear you. Hopefully. Yes. The joys of technology. One moment they work and the next moment they don't work with you. It just is what it is. Okay, so while we're waiting for Eric, I mean, Maria, are you with us?
I am with you.
All right,
Yes.
so let's hand over to Maria.
Yes. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm also talking about the food industry and the restaurants. As a result of lockdown, there's been an increase in third-party service providers. So when a customer buys a product, they then need to purchase nowadays through a third-party service provider. So the question is, how does this impact the franchising industry, and particularly the food industry? As you know, we're under lockdown level 4, and this means from a food industry is that restaurants, stores can sell to the customers, but they cannot have the consumer coming in and consume. So the food has to be bought from the store and be consumed off-site. So this has developed an increase on third-party service providers. I want to now look at the process and see the costing, and at the end of the day, what does that mean in terms of the back pocket of your franchisee? So when you're hungry, you'll pick up the phone and you will then order food. So there are many ways of ordering the food. You can order through Mr. Delivery, Uber, or via through an app. And for purposes of this conversation, we're not going to be talking about the consumer that actually walks in, buys the food, and then goes home. So this will deal with third parties. So as I mentioned to you, you would then purchase through Mr. Delivery, the Uber, or the app. And sorry, can you hear me? Because I'm not sure if I need to just put the sound.
We can hear you, no worries.
Romani, can you put that page that I asked you to put on? So let me go through I hope you have it. Otherwise, you don't have it. Okay, no, not a problem. So
I'm having a great day with connection today.
sorry, can you hear me? I apologize. So when the customer purchases the product, I'm just going to repeat because we seem to have lost a bit of a connection here. They would then purchase through Mr. Delivery, Uber, or through an app. So what would happen is the third-party service provider, whether it's an Uber or Mr. Delivery, will then go to a particular store. They will then purchase, they will get the food product with the till slip, because the store, the franchisee gives them a slip. They then come to your house, give you the product with the till slip, and you then would pay. If it's on an app, you would have paid it up front. If they come and deliver it, you then pay them. So to give you an example, and there was a list, is that if the franchisee sells a food product, for example, like a burger or salad, chips, it doesn't matter. And let's pretend that that is 79 Rand 99. And there's an increase of a markup of 20% because of the delivery service. That then makes it 95 Rand 99. The service provider then will deduct 30% from that, and the end of the result, the franchisee would then receive 67 Rand 90. So now you compare the 67 Rand 90, which the franchisee now receives, instead of the 79 Rand 99, because they used a third-party service provider. That means that there's less money in the back pocket. And as Mike said, that the restaurant business has a lot of factors against them, and now they have an additional factor, and that is they now have to pay for third parties, which was never incorporated, never considered in terms of their business system. So financially, apart from it being reduced, now your franchisee no longer receives 79 Rand. He or she only receives 67 Rand. As a result of that, number one, they receive less. But what has been happening is that your franchise agreement may have a clause. For example, the clause would say that you have to pay 6% on turnover. So because the cash till is 95 Rand, and remember on the example, the food product is 79 Rand, but it has been increased to 95 Rand to accommodate some of the costs in terms of the delivery. The owner pays the service provider, and the balance is 67 Rand. Now what is happening, you've got a situation where your franchisee has to pay 6% on 95 Rand and not 6% on 67 Rand. So your franchisee, which is in the food industry, because they have to use third parties, if people want their business, yes, thank you very much. Glad you've got that. So just to run it, as I said to you, it's 79 Rand that you sell the food item. You mark it up for 95 Rand. Then the service provider, whether it's an Uber, Mr. Delivery, or they then would receive 30%, and 70% of that is 67 Rand. So the end result is your franchisee is now paying 6% on 95 Rand when they've only received 67 Rand. So it's a double whammy for your franchisee, because they should have received 79 Rand because that was the recommended pricing. They're receiving 67 Rand, but paying 6%. So eventually there is going to be a problem because now the operating expenses of your franchisee has gone up. So what is the solution? The solution is for your franchisor, and I know, and as Mike says, he says things that people are annoyed or don't like what he says. What I'm saying is franchisors are not going to be happy with this. And my recommendation to franchisors is that when you have the situation, you need to now accommodate and reduce your monthly royalty to accord with the amount. How does a franchisor achieve this from a legal point of view? They would do that by way of an addendum. So it's a simple 1 or 2 pager reducing your turnover and amending the turnover so that the turnover is no longer that 75 Rand, which is your selling price for the item, but reduced to 67 Rand because that is the money in the back pocket of your franchisee. And in a franchising system, in a franchising system, you've got the franchisor and the franchisee working together. Now, your franchisor cannot have franchisees failing and closing stores because it affects the whole brand and the reputation. So my recommendation to the franchisors in this particular situation is to reduce the turnover so that your turnover is no longer the 75 Rand, but the turnover now becomes the 67 Rand. And really it's to everybody's benefit at the end of the day, because this is something that is exceptional. It was never taken part or taken into account in terms of the business system when the franchisor set it out. Also in terms of a disclosure document, because of the level 4 lockdown, the extra costs, the operating costs of third-party deliveries, it has not been taken into account. So right now you've got a situation where the franchisor's disclosure document actually doesn't reflect the true situation of what those operating costs are. So the disclosure document may have reflected correctly, say for example in January, but because of level 4 lockdown, the expenses of the franchisee has gone up because of these extra expenses. And the disclosure document now needs to accommodate that, and franchise or franchisee need to work together. Your franchisee does need to survive, and it's to the benefit of the franchisor and the actual group. So if you have any questions on that, and just by the by, and this is not just with the food industry, I agree with Mike in terms of training. One thing as a franchising attorney, and this has got nothing to do with law, this is now practicalities. I've learned that you've got to train your franchisees. Remember 3 things. You've got to train, train, and train. And when you finish training your franchisees, you need to go back into training. I know when I sit down at a restaurant or when I meet somebody in a store, within the first 2 minutes, I will know if the waiter or the person has been trained, because as Mike correctly says, they're the first pointer of communication to your brand if they didn't know your brand. So they come, and training is very important. So yes, thank you everyone. And if there's any questions.
Thank you, Maria. Any questions from anyone? Mike would just like to quickly, we might run a little bit over time, we might finish on time due to technicalities. if everyone doesn't mind that. I just want to hand over to Mike quickly. Mike said he would just like to add something about third-party delivery services when now. So Mike, over to you.
Maria, thank you for bringing that up. It's very hard for me to talk about third-party delivery services without swearing. So I promise you, I'm going to do my best because it drives me completely insane. So you need to understand the evolution of the third-party service. For years, I have been warning franchisees and I've been warning restaurants about them, all they have over their industry, about the fact that they own their database, a whole lot of things, costs, whatever.
Sorry, I've muted them, Mike. Mike, you're muted, sorry.
You muted me too, no problem. So the way the restaurant, the way the third-party apps have really grown is a year ago, or let's go back 2 years ago, before the pandemic, if I went to a restaurant and said to them, listen, guys, you need to be careful of that third-party app. You can't afford the 30% that they're charging you. They would say to me, hang on a second, Mike, my restaurant's full behind me. If you look behind me, you'll see a full restaurant. And what these third-party apps are doing is bringing me, yes, they're only bringing me 8,000 when they should be bringing me 24,000, but they're bringing me some real cream, money that I couldn't touch before. And all of a sudden the pandemic hit and it was the only way. And these third-party apps have refused to reduce their fees. What they pretend to do is they say to me, well, we'll give free delivery. Sure, you say you'll save the customer 10 Rand, but they're saving the restaurant nothing. More money. In fact, I was talking to Wendy from Rasa last night, and I said to her, if we should be fighting anything, it's those third-party apps. That is criminal. So sorry, Maria, I just want to add to what you said, and thank you for bringing it up. And I think I managed to do that without swearing, so I'm quite happy.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Okay, so let's hand over to Eric, our before computers person, and let's hope that Eric is now connected and can share with us. Let's see, Eric. I think I still might have you in the spotlight, Mike. Let's see. Here we go. Eric, you with us now?
Okay, can you hear me? I told you a long time ago, I'm born before computers. I've just proved it to all of you. But what I'd like to do is share some of my experiences and some of my knowledge with you. And for the next 10 minutes, I want all of you to imagine that you are a franchisor and you've got a pretty big company that you're running. And I'm going to try and take you through what we're doing with many, many franchisors at the moment. So we came up with a fantastic concept, or I think it is, where we think at the moment it's a fantastic time to prune your business. Now, why do we say prune? It's very obvious that if you don't prune your garden, it grows out of control. And we have to prune our garden. And we're just finding that in the current environment and what's happening at the moment, you've almost got to prune your business. And what we're doing with a number of clients and with my own businesses, we sit down at least once a year and we analyze our business. And in other words, if a product's not selling, we discontinue it. If an outlet's not performing, we think about closing it. If we've got staff that aren't performing, unfortunately, in these kind of times, you've got to think about getting rid of them. So I've pruned and looked at pruning a number of franchisor businesses. And I'm going to tell you 4 things that have come out of them that I think are quite important. The first one is, have you adapted your concept to address what we call the new norm? Now, we know about COVID, and even when we're all vaccinated, COVID is not going away. And what's going to happen at the end of COVID, we're going to have what people are referring to as the new norm. Now, what is the new norm going to change? Internet sales have grown through the roof. Delivery services, what we've all been talking about, has become a huge thing. People are working from home, and that means less traffic, less travel. That means motor cars aren't being serviced as often. They're not buying tires. People are even buying clothes differently. Because you're working from home, the leisure wear has gone up much more than the formal wear. So whether we like it or not, people are even moving away from the office because they don't have to travel to the office. and some people are even working from George, fortunately. But what's happened in your business is that this new norm is going to affect you. Now, have you adapted your system to face the new norm? And I think if you haven't done it, this pruning has worked out fantastically. And a lot of people aren't taking into account what's going to happen with the new norm. So that was point number one. Point number two, you've got to save the franchisees that are in financial distress. Now, in any big group, there were always a couple of franchisees that were battling a little bit, and you could work with them. But since COVID, there's many, many franchisees that are currently in financial distress. Now, what does that mean? It means that you've got to be proactive. The more mature franchisees or franchisors have made sure that each franchisee has a budget, and they actually have sight of the franchisee's income and expenditure every month. And by doing that, they can come up with and see the franchisees that are battling. And what we do with that, we put the franchisee into what we call intensive care, and we develop an intensive care program, which would entail sort of going and trying to get rent reduction, getting the suppliers to giving them extended credit, looking at more local marketing, doing more training, and you can actually look at a very successful program for intensive care. And by doing intensive care, you alert all the staff in the franchisor that that franchisee is a problem, and it gives you the opportunity to visit the franchisee and say to him, we're concerned about your business and we're putting you into intensive care. Now, it works fantastically from my point of view, because if you're not doing that, when you do find out the franchisee is battling, one of your suppliers will phone you and say, your franchisee hasn't paid me. And when you go into that business, it's too late. You find that they're behind on VAT, they haven't paid their rent, they're behind on paying the suppliers. And at that point, it's too late to do a lot about them. You have to be proactive and find it ahead of time. Now, the other thing that's important there is it might come to a case where you can't fix that franchise. And very often it's because that franchisee is not suitable, or he's not putting his heart and soul into the business. And at that point, you have to stop the bleeding. So it's very important at that point that you actually go to the franchisee and say, look, you're not enjoying it, you're not doing well, let me try and help you find another franchisee. And very often what is happening in the current environment, we are finding that successful franchisees are becoming multi-unit franchisees. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as they don't own too many. Now, you might find an experienced franchisee close to that franchisee that's battling, and very often they will take over that business and turn it around. So you've got to watch those franchisees that are in financial distress at the moment. So that is something that's probably number two. Number three, although we also agree with planned growth, it's actually not a bad time to grow at the moment, because you've got so many people that have been retrenched, that have got packages from being retrenched, and they actually put their CVs out there, and in about 2 months, they haven't even had a phone call. And that's when they realize, guys, I'm going to have to buy employment. And because they're not natural entrepreneurs, they realize that buying a franchise would be very good for them. Now, that's the good news. What I can tell you at the moment, those people are being very cautious because of the negativity around COVID and the fact that they've got a limited retrenchment package. They're checking everything out. So if you haven't moved your business in line with COVID and with the new future and the new normal, you're going to find it hard, because these guys are taking their time. They're actually researching. Now, Mike talked about landlords. The good news at the moment, I've waited all my life for this moment, because landlords were arrogant. They treated you with total dismay. It's so nice to see empty stores and empty offices, because you can do good deals, and you can go out there and negotiate for the first time. I've had such a problem with landlords all my life that I'm enjoying the boots on the other foot at the moment. It's a buyer's market. So it's a good time to expand, but you've got to be very, very careful. even shopping trends have changed quite a bit with people working from home. People aren't going as frequently to the major malls anymore. There's a big switch from the major malls to the strip malls. So even in terms of negotiating and picking sites, you've got to be very careful which sites you actually pick. But it's not a bad time to expand. Now, the next thing we've looked at from FASA and over the many years is we battled to get corporates to go into franchising. And what we're trying to get across at the moment, that it's a fantastic time for corporates to go into franchising, because at the moment, it really is a time where they're not going to want to go face-to-face. So if they've got a branch in an outlying area, could be Burgersfort or Rustenburg, they don't want to send staff around the country face-to-face. So when it's a franchise and it's an owner-operator, it's so much easier to manage because they don't have to worry about the petty cash and the people abusing the vehicles. And I think that corporates are going to start to realize that franchising is very much for them. And I think we've got to go out there, and the more corporates we can get. Look, corporates don't always lend themselves to franchising because they don't want to be part of the cooperative. They want to say, you better do it my way, do it or else, or, you know, almost like a boss-worker relationship. But there have been exceptions, and perhaps Pick n Pay was a very good example because Raymond Ackerman was very much a cooperative team-building type of guy. So we're going to be trying very hard to get the corporates to look at franchising. And then the other last good news, those are my 4 points. But the other bit of good news is that we're getting clients and we get people walking to our offices wanting to franchise their business all the time. And ironically, we've got some really good opportunities at the moment. I don't want to point out and tell you about numerous ones because I'd be giving preference to some of our clients. But if you want to go onto the website, which is franchisingplus.coza, and contact me, we can discuss some of them. But I'll mention one, and this is the kind of thing that is happening. I had a lovely father and son from Nelspruit come into our office. And very often we skeptical, we think, well, what's going to arrive? And they've come up with something that is so obvious. They've got what they've done. They've actually got a world patent on tip gutters. Now, if you've ever looked at the gutters in your house, you don't understand what's in there. There's a garden, there's stagnant water where mosquitoes are breeding. And I hate heights. So I'm not inclined to go and stand on the roof on a steep and go and try and clean my gutters. And often I send the garden boy up there and I'm petrified he's going to fall off the roof. But they've got a simple mechanism where within a couple of seconds you can tip the gutter and all the leaves and all the debris falls out and you can actually clean the gutter from the bottom. And they use gutters for water harvesting and they're combining the two together. So I think the good news in these difficult times is that there are some creative work that is taking place, and that is giving what I think is fantastic opportunities, because if you've got a franchise in that area, you've got something totally unique. You're not competing with a whole lot of people. So we've got a number of different clients at the moment with some really unique products. And if any of you want to contact me later on, I'll take you through some of them. But hopefully that's given you a bit of a snapshot. And I think maybe it's a good idea that you think about pruning your business, sitting down and saying, let's have a really good look at it and let's see where we can cut, where we can prune, where we can make that business even more profitable and more productive in a very, very difficult time. Thanks, Romney.
So much, Eric. Thank you so much, Eric. I hope everyone found this morning useful. What I'd like to do now is, has everyone got any questions? There have been some comments come through on the chat box. I don't know if, Willem, you'd like to share your comment directly, or if James, you'd like to share. Because what I'd like to do just to end off is, if you've got any questions, we can ask questions. There's one question that's come through. And then if everybody can just share with us in closing, what is your key takeaway? Sorry, let me just put myself there. What is your key takeaway from this morning's session? So that's what I'd like you to do, just to share one thought about what your key takeaway was. There was a question that came through from Aletta who said she wants to know, since we are faced with this pandemic and it's affecting unemployment rate, how does one buy into a franchise? Which is quite a very big and long question to answer. So perhaps maybe we can set up another meeting with experts who can perhaps share with us, how does one actually raise the funds to buy a franchise business? Because in the current economic climate, I think a lot of pressures and stress is on everyone. So if everyone wants to chip in with that, Maria?
Well, I wanted to ask a question. Did you want me to respond to that?
No, you can.
Because I see that Willem asked a question on dark kitchens. Because I only had 10 minutes, there is really so much that I can talk about on the subject. I can also talk about landlords. And as I say, I know that we have time constraints, but on Willem's question on dark kitchens, I know that it was happening. One of my franchisors is in the food industry. So I assisted him preparing a dark kitchen agreement. And for those who don't know what it means, it's your franchisee already has a setup. So he or she has the premises, the staff, the food, the layout, the equipment. So everything has been spent, and they then sell. They have a particular brand. I don't really want to mention any brand. So they have whatever their food brand is. But at the same time, they are allowing their kitchen to be used for other food to be sent out. And that is what dark kitchen is. I'm actually surprised that it hasn't become more popular. Besides this, and here and there, I've hardly heard people speaking about it, and I'm very surprised because I'm in the franchising industry. So one would have expected at least to have come out, one would have expected somebody to have tried it. My client didn't, although they looked at the legalities and everything, they then decided not to do it. I'm not quite sure. I didn't go into the reasons of that because I was brought in from a legal point of view. So why are these restaurants not doing it? There should be some kind of gap there, especially when the expenses have gone up. So it really, excuse the pun, it's a dark horse here.
Maria, do you mind if I comment on that very quickly?
No problem.
So yeah, I'm glad you made that point, and I'm just going back to the problem of franchise owners facing an infinite amount of uncertainty about the future. I think the point has been made already that nobody actually knows what's going to happen. You know, what's going to be the next announcement? How long is this going to be? Is there going to be a fourth wave? And if there's one thing I appreciate about business, it's about the importance of having certainty so that you can plan. And with the amount of uncertainty facing restaurants, I think the discussion around the additional costs being incurred and how do we solve that problem mathematically, I think from a short-term perspective, it makes absolute sense. And I mean, this is the time when franchisors and franchisees need to stand together and help each other out. But that's not going to be a sustainable way going forward. The traditional restaurant setup, as we know it, is the traditional way of delivering food to the customer. And I like the analogy that Mike made when he compared restaurants to little factories. Any factory, once they've produced, need to get their product to the end user as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So we know what we know in terms of the traditional restaurant approach. With all the uncertainty we're facing at the moment, maybe it's time for restaurateurs to change their business model. Maybe the primary delivery method is no longer the sit-down solution. And that then is where this whole discussion around, well, the costs associated with people delivering it for you. Those companies, they solve a real problem. They've been able to set up their systems in such a way that they can do it at scale and they charge a fee for solving that problem. I think they're lucky where they are now because there's no real alternative. But nobody deserves to work for free. And so I think they're entitled to charge what they need to charge. So I think the conversation should not be focused long-term in terms of how do we get rid of that cost or how do we reduce it. I think the conversation should be changing the business model. And in this sense, practically speaking, I think it's the case of saying, well, do we need to have our location at a high end where the rent is X? Maybe I don't need to be in a high-end area. I can go a much cheaper area and convert my place just into a kitchen where I can focus on producing the same output at a much higher and more efficient scale. And I like Eric's word in terms of pruning the business. You can then prune your location cost quite significantly. And that's how I would like to see one accommodates those additional charges.
Anyone would like to contribute to that comment? I know Mike said he wanted to also add something about culling.
Can I go ahead?
Go for it.
So two things. First of all, on the pruning side, or Eric's pruning side, I made a little fun video a couple of years ago called Mike's 10-80-10 rule. And what I've done is I've actually posted it in the chat. You're more than welcome to go watch it. A little YouTube video, a couple of minutes long. Basically, what it says is that if you look at all your franchisees, for example, I'll use franchisees as an example, 10% of them are so wonderful, there's nothing you wouldn't do to keep them. And 10% of them are so terrible, there's nothing you wouldn't do to get rid of them. And we're spending all our energy on those two groups, those two 10%. What we really should be doing is getting rid of the bottom 10% as fast as we can, get help from Maria, get help from Eric, get help from your local hitman if you have to. I didn't really say that, but get rid of them. And look after the top 10, and then go and identify the top 10% in the other 80% and do everything you can to push them one level higher. That's actually how you grow it. So that's on the pruning side. I'm a very big advocate of that. And then on the dark kitchen side, you know, we've been talking about disruption for years and years and years. And if I'd stood up at a restaurant conference and said, the restaurant industry is about to be disrupted, I would have been laughed off the stage. People would have said to me, don't be stupid. Everyone wants to eat food. And along comes COVID and it completely disrupts the industry. All of a sudden, the basic thing, as Willem says, of serving people at a table, the food is taken away. So there will certainly be some changes. I'm not sure everyone will move directly to dark kitchens, but there's a disruption and we need to be ready for it more than anything else. And you need to look at your franchisees and say, before someone else comes along and disrupts my industry, I better disrupt it myself. Thank you.
I agree with that. That's definitely the plan and way forward for myself is definitely to stay in the disruption, move with the disruption and involve. Anyone else would like to contribute to the conversation? Would we like to add anything, what you learned today? Dion, would you like to share what you learned today? Jean, before we close off.
No, thanks. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Right. No, thanks, guys. It was pretty informative and it made my eyes open a bit, especially looking into the future with what's happening in the world. Okay, I'm not in the restaurant industry, as you all know. Yeah, being in the mobile pet grooming industry, we're not sitting with such disastrous effects on our business, although it does affect us and it affects our clients and our customers that have their own financial problems, which I'm sure a lot of you feel. But a lot of the points you guys made, you know, training your staff well, looking into the future, disrupt your own business, it's true facts that I would definitely be looking at. And it made a hell of a lot of sense for me. So yeah, that's it. Thanks a lot for everybody and everybody who chatted. It was great info. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Jean, Belinda, just before we close, anyone would like to contribute to the conversation, share what they learned from today, any takeaways? Sometimes people are shy in these conversations to bring them out of the woodwork.
No, thanks. It was really constructive, informative. You know, it all boils down to, you know, when the pandemic initially started, a lot of people said the first people that can empathize is going to be the people that's going to be remembered. And, you know, the issue existed that a lot of people requested relief, but they didn't want to give relief. And it's a two-way path in any business. You know, it needs to start at the top. And I think the issue that persisted was it started at the bottom, where people said, I need to retain clients. How do I do it? I need to do things differently. And your bigger corporates and key individuals, I think, was a bit slow in that essence. But I like it, you know, what Willem said is, again, can I really see the empathy, and can I get a solution to what the problem is? And that's being real and collaborations. I think that's what I can also hear from the old way of really doing everything myself and keeping everything in my pocket doesn't work anymore. But yeah, thanks. A great session.
Thank you. Thank you. It is all about collaboration and working together. And it's not always about the money. It's also about exchanging trade. You know, what can one offer each other that could be of mutual benefit? That's how you can also find a way of reducing costs sometimes. Mike, I believe you wanted to add something further. Carl has also requested if everyone could just post, if you want to post your contact details in the chat box for people to connect and contact, please go ahead and do so. And yes, exchange information. Also, I'm going to post a link in the comment box to please give us feedback on this morning's session. We much appreciate it. We will send a replay of the recording afterwards. So if anyone else would like to contribute, Mike, I think you wanted to say something. Belinda, anyone, Tafiso, if you guys want to add to the conversation.
Just a quick word on training. We need to understand who we're training at the moment. We're training people that I call the Instagram generation. They cannot concentrate for longer than 90 seconds or maybe 2 minutes at the most. They're used to getting all the information on a device and not from someone standing in front of them for 14 minutes or an hour and a half lecturing them. What I've been doing for my clients, I create 2 to 3 minute short video clips that are short enough to be sent out on WhatsApp. That's how small they actually are. And that's the way to train your staff at the moment. First of all, we can't even get to all the stores anymore. We can't afford to fly around the country, but you can afford to turn your training into a video series that you send out to every single staff member.
I think training is going to get more and more important, especially in the virtual world, in-house training, online training your customers. So I think that's also going to become a future trend, especially how to operate the world in the automated world. So in that, I'm going to close off this morning. Thank you everyone for joining today. If you want to just share your contact details, I see people are sharing. We will still stay on afterwards. If you've got any questions, you're more than welcome to ask questions. And we're going to close off for today. So next month, we will be hosting another one at the first week of every single month. We host these meetings. We'd like to encourage everyone to attend these sessions so that we can just connect, learn, collaborate, share ideas, because in a world going forward, we're going to need each other more than we realize. Okay, so thank you, everyone. Thank you for this morning.
Thank you. Thank you, Robin.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Jean, I'm very interested to hear about because you're right. I mean, we're already in a disruption phase. I mean, we are moving now into blockchain, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm very keen to understand what you mean about bringing the old internet versus the new internet. I want to explore that because I'm very passionate. Yeah, I'm very passionate about learning about how do we get internet more accessible into areas, because it really can change lives. I believe it, I believe we need to equip our future customers, and we're not doing that.
No. So I'm an ex-Capitec. I come from a forensic background, so I'm a forensic accountant. So, the big thing is, are we thinking about the child that's sitting on his mother's couch now and thinking about what do they want? And the big chats were free banking, and it's the same with internet. It's the same with a lot of things. Is how do I make it accessible, and how do I disruption is a word that's now the buzzword that's out of the door. Everyone that waited for disruption, as it was rightfully said, we were forced to disrupt, but it's now how do I just change my mind about things, and how do I apply things differently? So it's all about the application and making things smarter and more intelligent. So we'll definitely take the chat further, and I'm excited and keen to explore it further.
Thank you. And thank you for
And
joining.
thank you for your time.
All
Okay.
right.
Have a good one. Keep well.
You take care. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Thank you, Kalani, for joining us again. It's a pity you didn't introduce yourself. I was looking forward to it. Nice to see you again. I will be in touch with you. I believe you're joining us for a few sessions. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I'm going to end the meeting now.